Welcome back. I believe this is video number 5 in this series, and I've been away for a few weeks now. I think about 3 weeks since my last video. I've been pretty busy, so I haven't had as much time to work on this site as I have had the last few weeks, but that's okay. It all balances out, and I have been chipping away at it. So this will be a fairly short video this week. What I've been doing is lots of behind the scenes work, which I'll just touch on briefly because I don't want to bore you. And then I just want to take you into a few stats. I've done some traffic analysis now that I'm about 6 or 7 weeks into this site, just to give you an idea for what's going on behind the scenes, so that I can show you what, not that there's any typical pattern, but what's happened with this particular site as I've gone through the editing process. So here we are on one page of the site, and this is a page that was really bugging me. This page had been called Sunshine Coast, and the previous owner had grouped certain cities under Sunshine Coast, thinking that was on Vancouver Island, but it's actually on the mainland. So I renamed this page, and you can see as I just scroll down, I've made some changes to the navigation bar as well. And you may not remember what this looked like before, but I've just cleaned it up, renamed a lot of buttons so that it makes more sense to my visitors, started to group things into categories where they all make sense. So just chipping away at little things like this. And as I mentioned in my last video, I'm just waiting for the updates to my new site builders so I can change out the header and start to redesign the site and bring it to life a little bit more. But I'm still patiently waiting for that. So that's this page, and then as far as behind the scenes work that I've done, I'll just take you over to my file of notes. And this is, you may recall, I had started this just mapping out what my site looks like, where the headers go, what pages will be on the navigation bar, what pages will be grouped under those pages, and basically just how the whole site comes together. So as you can see, there's a fair bit of work that goes on behind the scenes, and this document is now pretty well complete. So I've done a lot of keyword research, and I have looked at the pages that are existing. I'm just going to show you an example of the kinds of things I've been doing. I'll take you into the back end of this site, and this is my keyword research tool. So I could just clear my filters here. You can see this is where all of my keywords live, and I've got data on each one of them that tells me which might be the best keyword to use. So what I did when I wanted to change out that Sunshine Coast, here on Vancouver Island we call it Central Vancouver Island. So I just filtered my keywords and I looked for all the keywords that had Central Vancouver Island in them. And I found two. Neither of them are great, but with a small geographic, a local focus site like this, I am less concerned with these lower numbers because I need to call the page something that is recognizable, something that it really is called, and not make up a name. Otherwise I'm misleading my visitors. So I have found these two keywords, and you'll see this first column here. This is demand, and next door is supply, which is my competition. So I want to see ideally higher demand than supply. So while this is not a great number, it certainly is better to use the second one than the first one, simply because it has much lower supply, much less competition. So when I was choosing my keyword for this page, I went with Central Vancouver Island, British Columbia. And that will also pick up any searches for Central Vancouver Island, which I'm going to have to fight a lot harder to win. But I know if people type in this more specific keyword, then I stand a much better chance of getting their click. And you can see that I've named the page Central Vancouver Island, British Columbia, and I've optimized it. You can see right here in this very first sentence, here's an example. I'm optimizing for that specific keyword. So that's an idea of what I've been doing behind the scenes. I've just been going back and forth between the pages that are here, the pages that I know I need to create, and then I have been doing searches for appropriate keywords. I'll show you just one more, just to give you an idea. I have a category for tourist attractions, and in trying to find the best keyword for attractions in the city of Victoria, I've come up with this list after I apply my filter. And you'll see that to use the keyword Victoria attractions, has not bad demand, but very high supply. So the competition for that keyword is quite high. Looking down the list, Victoria, British Columbia attractions, much lower demand, but very, very low supply. That would be fairly easy to win. But up here at the very top, a keyword, attractions in Victoria, BC. And if I'm looking to write a page about tourist attractions in Victoria, that would be an appropriate keyword. Significant demand, very, very low supply. So this is the process I've been going through. Looking at each page, coming in and doing the keyword research page by page, because I'm going to optimize every page around one main keyword, and then going back and plugging that in. So this is what I mean by laying the groundwork for a successful site. I'm doing all the research and building out behind the scenes in my blueprint, and then when I'm ready to buckle down and start creating, things are going to come together fairly quickly. What else have I been up to? Oh, you can just see that I've started to group things. I think I mentioned like weather. Previously, there was all kinds of buttons on the navigation bar for weather in all kinds of cities. It was kind of messy, not very tidy. So just cleaned that up a little bit. Starting to gather more photos as well. Big shout out to some of the folks who've already sent me photos. Thank you very much. And again, I'll be giving proper credit when I use those on the site, and really looking forward to that. Let me just take you into traffic stats now, and I'll finish up with just a quick analysis of what's been going on. So I'll take you back into my back end for this website, and those of you who use SBI might recognize the platform. Hopefully you feel at home here. I'm going to come down to where my traffic stats are. Depending which platform you use, yours will probably look different, but you should have access to some traffic stats. Mine displays the last 12 months. So if you look here, this is March, and I bought the site, as you'll recall, it was March 11th or 12th. So about halfway through that month, I started with an evaluation of the site and just started to take it apart a little bit. Traffic, as you can see, was fairly flat. The site really hadn't been worked on very much in the last 2 years. Started to come up a little bit in the couple months before I got hold of it, possibly due to seasonal increase, and we're coming into tourist season, of course. So by March, it was still coming up. This is my unique visitors, this orange column, and this is the number of visits. So if 10 people visit 3 times each, then that's 10 unique visitors making 30 visits. So the visits number will always be higher. And the pages is just the number of pages that were viewed on the site as a total. So you'll come back here, this is my daily average, and see that 91 was the high so far for the year, and then April, traffic has dropped down to 71 visitors. I'm going to ask you to disregard May, because that's data for only one day in May, and that number will come down as it averages out over the month. So we're just concerned with these 2 months. There's a fairly significant traffic drop, and whenever you see that, of course, you're going to want to know what's causing that and what should I do about it. This is why it's important to monitor your traffic. But in this case, I know that I deleted well over 20 pages on the site. I think it had 110 pages when I started, and it now has 82. And I added a number of administrative pages. So I took off a good 20-25 pages of duplicate content, articles written by others, information that wasn't relevant or that wasn't correct or that just didn't belong on the site, pages of links, that sort of thing. So I took down a lot of pages, and naturally that's going to lead to a decrease in traffic, because even though many of those pages weren't particularly relevant, they still would be found occasionally for searches. So in removing them, I've just removed that much search engine feed, you could call it. So it's normal to see a traffic drop in that case. I'm not worried about this. Let's go in and just take a closer look at the month of April so you can see day by day what's been going on. So earlier in the month, I had already started to remove pages at this point, and this is a very normal traffic pattern. Your traffic doesn't go up day by day by day, typically fluctuates, but over time we're looking for hopefully an upward trend. So you can see that just from week to week in the month, the traffic has dropped the more pages I removed. And I didn't do this every day, but as the month went on, I did take out more and more pages. So considering how many pages I've taken out, I'm actually quite pleased that the traffic has started to turn around just a little bit from its low here in the low teens. And just as I started to work on it late in the month, it's come up a little bit, and the first day of May wasn't bad either. But again, that's very, very small picture. I'm really not going to be too concerned about what the traffic is doing until I actually start to build out the site, which should be quite soon. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how quickly the pages get indexed, and that should start to bring me some more traffic. So I just show you that so that you can see it's not unusual to see a traffic drop like that when you have to basically tear down a site and start again. So that's what's happening, and I'm going to call this our baseline in the month of April. That our low, I'm gonna call this our low. So now the pressure's on. That I don't want to see the traffic drop below that number again. From here on in, it's build out well optimized pages that are created to serve the needs of my visitors, that provide high value, and they're going to get picked up in search engines and people will find them, and we're going to see that number going up. So that's where we at. I went on a little bit longer than I intended, but I hope this has been a useful exercise for you. I'm going to be getting to work in the next couple of weeks. Whether or not my new site builder is ready to roll out, I'm going to start adding those pages, not waiting for the look and feel, just getting the information up there. And I will check in with you again when I've got some more information to show you. Thanks for joining me.